1, 2, 3, 4.
Welcome back to It's Not a Sport After Dark. This is our third episode in the After Dark series, and I just finished my capstone game. It is a game that we've been developing for 6 months. It is our thesis of all the things that we learned at DePaul over the 4 years. And I wanted to talk about this from a producer and design standpoint for this episode. Just talking about what I learned and kind of giving you my points and my top tips. So, starting with number one is have a plan and write it down. This was super duper helpful for us, especially in kind of the last second half of development, is having a production plan and having down what we need to be doing and when we need it done by, and having tasks, then going more individual on what needs to be done and who's doing it. Having this plan allows us to plan out what we need to do, what can still be in the game, and what needs to be cut, and what we really need to rush down and be focusing on and polishing while we are making the game. This was super duper helpful throughout the process. Number two, meet with people consistently. Having meetings with people to make sure everyone's on the same page and everyone's relatively happy. It was super helpful for me. Making sure that everything was okay and that everyone felt like it was okay, and taking in input not only in just a group setting but in individual settings as well, so we can get words of maybe how they feel about other teammate or how they feel about X, so then I, the producer, can solve those problems beforehand. Number three, making sure the work is being done. You have to be hard on people. You have to make sure that the work is being done and that their tasks are being fulfilled. A lot of the times we almost didn't make a lot of things that ended up in the game because some people aren't doing the work. So making sure that people are staying on task, that their schedules allow them to stay on task, and that they have the time to get it done, and that they can get it done by a specific date is super duper helpful to do. Number four, document everything. I documented everything, every change, every number, every math equation, every system, how it works, how it doesn't work, every texture, every, art asset, everything we need, every volume, voice line. I documented it all because I needed to know and have a reference of what works and what doesn't work, and where are things. Where can I find X, texture, or X sound bite, or X, voice line? What does it say? When does it trigger? What conditions need to be met for this to happen? This was super helpful in me understanding how our entire game works and how it's built up from the ground. It's like understanding the human anatomy of our game. And knowing this, I was able to change everything and augment things on the fly, and I could have a reference of what people liked when we play test and what people didn't like. Number five, don't be afraid to cut some things and innovate. So a lot of things that I wanted to do for this game, just we didn't have time to do. And a lot of some very interesting ideas just weren't able to be implemented, or we did implement some of them and they ended up really working out. And this I think, is a big fear of a lot of people. A lot of other groups had this problem as well, where they would spend too much time on this and it just wouldn't work out. So don't be afraid. If you have to cut something, cut it, because if you can have the time to re-add it, then you can always go back and re-add those things. And the final sixth thing that I want to talk about is be hungry. And what do I mean by that? Well, you have to have the drive to make the game and to try new things and to take risks. Throughout this project, I spent many weeks just researching one thing in order to get this one thing to work, and just improve the gameplay and overall feel of the game. For me, it was textures and shadering. I knew nothing about how shaders worked in video games, how to make things look good. And I spent a considerable amount of time doing that. Same with our programmer. He spent a considerable amount of time improving AI. If you go back and watch old videos of our game, what it is versus what it is current is like night and day. So always be hungry and have that driving force. Make the best product you possibly can. Anyway, that's going to be our show. Thank you for listening. Leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Check out our other stuff. Check out our merch store. Check out our website. It's all there. Thanks for listening. This has been your host, Salty Waffles, signing off, and I hope you have a wonderful time.